This week on 380 Adventures, join us as we take you where few dare to go. Through the rugged mountains, where every turn is a challenge. Into the night, where only the brave keep moving, guided by instinct, not sunlight. Over raging waters, crashing with the force of nature itself. And deep down into the flooded caves below, where the unknown waits in total darkness. It's an epic ride of discovery, adrenaline, and the untamed beauty of our world. Just a little fun to get us started. We have a lot to cover here this week on your favorite US 380 Updates channel. We're starting things off with a quick look at what's changing along the US 380 expansion in Denton. Here's what you need to know. This is a $140 million project widening the highway from a 4-lane, continuous 2-way left turn lane in the center to a 6-lane divided highway with sidewalk access and 5 overpasses to fly over key intersections. The first of those overpasses, if we start from east to west, is here at Legacy. We are flying heading east. There was a recent traffic switch last week. Traffic used to be side by side, each direction. However, the westbound service road is, and we're thankful for that. To all our fellow drivers, thank you for being safe while driving through here over the past few months. Westbound now has a dedicated left, 2 straight, and a dedicated right turn lane. Temporary traffic signals were moved as well. Eventually, a turnaround lane will be installed on both undersides of the overpass. Looking east again at the next phase of this overpass is something that we're looking forward to. The bridge deck is not green for show. Each of these overpasses will be using a carbon steel rebar coated with a green-epoxy resin. This coating protects the steel from corrosion and is most commonly used in bridge decks. Slight tangent there, but what we're really excited to see is this Bidwell 4800 roller paver. Crews will be able to pour this entire bridge deck at once with this machine. This is a massive piece of equipment designed for large-scale concrete paving projects. This paver is renowned for its ability to handle exceptionally wide spans, making it ideal for highway expansions like this project. There's a lot to take in here at Teel Parkway and Championship Drive. So let's break it down as we rotate around the intersection. All of the bridge beams are now in place, spanning the entire length of the overpass, a major milestone. Bridge decking in green rebar for a late St. Patrick's Day celebration to come. Westbound traffic has now been shifted to the newly poured pavement on the north side of the overpass. Things will look a little different if you're used to the old layout. While the westbound lanes have shifted, eastbound drivers may still notice what looks like lane closures. That's because work is still ongoing in this section. Space is needed for construction crews to safely operate, and that temporary asphalt you've been driving on, it'll either be removed or replaced with concrete as the build-out continues. So if you're heading through this area, be sure to pay close attention to the new lane markings and know that temporary traffic signals have been relocated to match the updated alignment. Everything is designed to keep traffic flowing, but it's important to stay alert as the layout continues to evolve. The 423 overpass has changed. Hello to you too. Has changed from an intersection to looking much more like an overpass since we last provided an update. These were some of the final beams to be lifted into place at this location. And what you're seeing here is the first of that last row being hoisted overhead. We've sped the footage up by 10 times to give you a better look at the precision and coordination between these 2 highly skilled crane operators. Every movement is calculated, slow, and steady to guide each beam perfectly into place. This work was done the evening of May 22nd, just as the traffic switch at 423 was taking place nearby. It was a busy night. In total, 4 beams were set during this operation. To the left of the screen here, you can see the traffic switch had started and lanes were reduced to 1 lane each way for majority of the night. We'll cover that in more detail next. There were a lot of personnel from TxDOT and Frisco on site the 22nd. The very first step was to begin restricting traffic in both directions, just as we mentioned in our last update. If you were anywhere near this area on Thursday night, It was definitely not a fun zone to drive through. Around 7:30 p.m., the traffic signals at the intersection were powered down, marking the start of the real action. From there, crews began the careful process of removing or repositioning the temporary signal equipment, which had been guiding drivers through the construction for months. This phase of the work took a couple of hours, as signals were shifted to align with the new lane configurations coming online. A lot of coordination, flashing lights, and rerouted traffic, all part of the behind-the-scenes effort to keep progress moving safely. Northbound 423 was likely confusing for most drivers, but thanks for your patience. Only a few honks out there. After the sun dipped below the horizon and darkness settled over the land, not a creature was stirring, except for a few dedicated crews and a convoy of cones. The hum of generators and the blink of red and amber lights filled the air. As barrels were gently shifted, signals dimmed, and new paths took shape under moonlight. It was calm, it was quiet, a rare stillness on 380, as the overnight transformation unfolded with purpose and precision. While most slept, the road moved forward. Sorry, I know many of you sitting in this traffic that night did not feel like it was a peaceful lullaby. However, we did get to help. Here at the end of the clip, you can see cars were leaving by the Valvoline and entering onto the highway early. We reached out to contacts on the ground who were able to get that fixed, and then we get to use this funny meme. While you're waiting bumper to bumper during the next traffic switch, have your passenger visit signgypsies.com if you're planning a celebration. Whether it's a birthday, graduation, or any special event, they've got you covered with custom yard signs that will bring your occasion to life. With vibrant, personalized designs, Sign Gypsies delivers more than signs. They deliver joy. They handle everything from design to setup, so you can sit back and enjoy the fun. Visit signgypsies.com to book today and use promo code 380updates for a free upgrade on your next sign. Terms and conditions apply. We're back from that quick break, and now we're looking at the results of all that late night work. If you remember the layout from before, eastbound traffic remains right where it was, continuing to travel on the original stretch of pavement. But take a look over to the right side of the screen. Westbound traffic has officially moved over to its brand new lanes. For the first time in months, it's no longer head-to-head with oncoming traffic. This is a big milestone in the project. Separating east and westbound lanes like this not only improves driver safety, but also gives crews the space they need to continue building that overpass without active traffic. It might look simple from above, but this change represents hours of planning, setup, and coordination that happened quietly overnight. And it's one more step toward the final configuration of this corridor. Westbound traffic on 380 now has plenty of space, including a dedicated left turn lane heading south, 2 lanes for through traffic, and a dedicated right turn lane. Northbound on 423 still features 2 left turn lanes. Although, while editing, we heard about a wreck at the intersection, likely due to negligence. Please pay attention and be careful. We know everyone watching is the perfect driver, so exercise some defensive driving. There's still more to cover here around 423. So this week's video is shaping up to be a pretty packed one. As we cross over Doe Creek, we're wrapping up the section where the recent traffic switches have been completed, at least for now. But don't go anywhere. We'll have updates in just a few minutes on what's coming next along 380. For now, let's speed things up a bit and swing over to the Doe Creek Bridge, where things are about to get exciting. The structure is fully prepped and ready for its beams. Finally, a transition, which means we're moving further west. This is Savannah. Concrete has been poured for the new outside lanes that will transition traffic on and off the highway. Additional drainage will be installed at these traditionally low points as well. Continued in the shot, we can see there is still a gap between the lanes to be poured. 1 kilometer west at Magnolia, the same concrete pour and gap are present to be poured. However, no additional drainage to be installed here. Closer inspection reveals this might not be all here at this intersection. We might see a traffic switch to the new outer lanes as the middle section is replaced. We reported before that crews tore up a section of the roadway for a quick drainage install. That just won't work for us long term, so they'll need to fix it. Otherwise, it's not coming off our punch list. Slowly moving our way west, finally at Navo. We're also heading west on what will soon be new roadway. Well, it is new roadway, but within the next 2 weeks, a traffic switch will move us to this westbound service road. Again, this is likely to take place around the second week of June. Mark your calendars. Usually, TxDOT emails go out after all our video editing takes place, but we're ahead of this announcement. Feels like the drone is stocking up on this mysterious ball of rebar in the middle of the construction zone. Now, yes, technically, it needs to be cleared out eventually. But tell me, this doesn't look like the start of a modern art installation. So here's a question for our viewers. Anyone out there with artistic skills, welders, sculptors, or rebar visionaries? Could you turn something like this, or other leftover material from the 380 expansion, into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece? And while we're at it, is there a place in Little Elm, Frisco, or another nearby city where we could commemorate this project with an outdoor art display? Maybe it's time this construction journey left more than just concrete behind. We'll go ahead and glide quickly across the intersection here. And there's something worth pointing out for local drivers and nearby businesses. All of the new driveways are now complete along this stretch, and they've been carefully aligned to connect with the upcoming traffic switch. Actually, looks like there is still some concrete to be poured here. That should be simple, or just put some cones around it. Once that switch goes live, these driveways will provide direct, safe access to and from local businesses, without having to navigate through rough, temporary paths or detours like we've seen in recent months. These next couple weeks could be some of the last times vehicles will be able to freely cross the highway. Eventually, a raised median will be poured down the center of the road, effectively cutting off full cross-highway access at this location. If you look closely, the current Jersey barrier configuration already gives a hint of what's to come. It's setting the expectation that traffic will be directed into right-in, right-out turns only, rather than full lefts or direct crossings. It's a big change for this area, especially for those used to jumping across quickly. But long-term, it's all about safety, traffic flow, and reducing collisions in this newly redesigned corridor. If you haven't noticed yet, we're moving from east to west this whole video, so next is Main Street, or 2931. A minor traffic switch took place recently here, as well as some Phase 2 construction work. That was a CAT CS 56 single-drum vibratory compactor that weighs in around 13 tons and is on-site to help roll this asphalt into shape. Crews recently poured 2 and 3 lanes worth of asphalt-based layer, prepping for concrete soon. We'll come around the corner here to see the minor traffic switch that took place. Although those of you heading south here are not thinking this is minor. The dedicated right turn lane has been shut down, leaving traffic only the one lane to turn left or right on a 380. There is still no straight available here, as Ryan Spiritas is not yet open, but we won't be covering that this week. There's been quite a bit of fresh asphalt laid down here on the east side of the intersection, and it's right in line with what we were expecting for this phase of construction. This area is being prepped for some important updates to the traffic flow. We're looking at the addition of a dedicated right turn lane, alongside the additional main traffic lane that will help ease congestion and improve movement through the intersection. It's all part of widening the corridor and making sure each direction can handle future traffic volumes more efficiently, especially during peak hours. Here we're noticing a concrete frame setup for the driveway to that newly opened shell and shops. Not much to report at 720 or directly at Naylor itself this week. But just a little further west, we've got something worth updating. Crews have made noticeable progress on the new retaining wall in this area. If you look closely, you'll see the groundwork is well underway, with a staging area full of concrete forms stacked and ready to go. These forms are a key part of the next phase. Once set, They'll shape the retaining wall structure that will support the elevated lanes we're expecting along this stretch. It's a strong visual cue that vertical work is about to begin. Even when it seems quiet at a major intersection, activity just around the corner often tells the real story. These moments of setup are what make the big jumps possible down the line, and it's always great to catch the early signs of that progress in motion. On the south side of the 720 intersection, we saw a question even yesterday asking what this building is going to be. It was a bit too satisfying to let them know it was a dentist office. We'll get a little closer look inside this stand-alone dental office that is set to open late summer 2025. We need to back up just a bit west here by Roses, just west of the 720 overpass and next to that creek area. Odd that we're stumped, but we have no clue what this structure is next to Roses here. Does anyone know or have any ideas? It could be donut shop. There isn't one on this side of the highway. A car wash? Or gas station? It looks like there's a pull through from one side, and this left side is a drain in the middle. Actually, we looked it up to stop being dumb. This is going to be a Take 5 oil change. A donut shop would have been more interesting to tease. Fun fact, we just found out that this low-lying, slow-moving stream or wetland that is between here and this apartment complex is not considered a creek, but is actually called a Cantrell Slough. Never heard of that before, but thank you Google Maps for the assist. Working our way back east, we're at 2931 and looking northeast. This is the new Shell station that opened recently. There are also quite a few other shows in that center that will open over time. We missed this in our retail update last week, but this lot here should be the future site of an Arby's. Until they break ground, we likely won't mention that again because nothing is ever set in stone. Behind there is a Sprouts taking shape. The parking is sporting some new concrete in that middle section. The front facade is coming along nicely here. This is likely to open later this year based on this progress, with some other retail options attached. Bear with us, and we hope you're able to follow along, but we're going to spin around slowly 180 degrees. Look across 2931 to see the site of a future Kroger that broke ground recently. Well, figuratively. They had a ceremony with fancy shovels and moved dirt. The nice part about this shot is there's a nice big trailer with Kroger coming soon, so we don't have to add any graphics. In case that missed you, this is back in the northwest corner of 2931 and 380. On the highway in front of that Kroger is Azure Plaza. We were provided the leasing information recently. Many of you will be happy to see a sushi restaurant listed on this east end. A nice place to sit down and eat where you won't be asked to tip standing up. There's also a dental office listed. No, seriously, we're not making this up. A spa, ice cream shop, and a Gideon school for kids who can't read good. We covered a lot last week in our retail spotlight. To check out that video, check out the screen here. However, we didn't add a graphic overlay to this Wells Fargo at 423 and 380. This is the southwest corner in from of HEB and next to the CVS. Also a night version in case you were wondering what the site looks like in low light. Zoomed out, looking over 423. After the traffic switch and with most of those beams set, this is a cool shot, but instead of zooming in slowly, we'll just jump straight to the front. This Walmart is set to open in August or September of this year. This Walmart appears to have a slightly different exterior design compared to others in the area, and that's not by accident. While many Walmarts follow a consistent national look, in some cases, local city ordinances or design guidelines influence what the final building looks like. Or this could be a new look inside and out that Walmart is pushing for. There was a comment recently, because it's been seen and heard and rumors continued by us here on 380 Updates, that this should be the largest store for Walmart. A commenter brought up the fact that this is large, but it doesn't even have a car care center, which could make the store even larger. So, to check on that, we've flown around to check and make sure there weren't any car bays hiding that we hadn't seen. Having said that, Not every Walmart has a car care center, and the Frisco Walmart, just 2 miles south, does have a car care center. So, sounds like that store might stay open if only to provide that service. Slightly joking, but we'll gladly start that conspiracy theory. And finally, we got to address the most commented on topic we have ever had here on the channel. It's official. Cosmos is no more. Thanks to all of you who pointed that out. Y'all were on it faster than the drive-thru. McDonald's recently announced that they're retiring the Cosmos concept. Maybe there is a spot open for an In-N-Out? What a final tease there at the end. Do not get too excited, we haven't seen any plans. Share this video, and maybe someone will see the community demand that can make that happen. That's it for this update. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share so your neighbors stay in the know. We'll be back next time with more on the 380 expansion. See you then.